We are here. We are here. I am going to go to the back of the room because I'm going to have you do the invocation because I'm going to be sitting back there with the meditation.
Oh, for the
Yes,
meditation?
but I'll do the treatment though. All right. Welcome. We're going to actually do a different meditation tonight. So. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because this whole month is dedicated to what?
Out of the box.
Out of the box. This whole month is October is out of the box.
So I'm going to the back of the room and being out of the
And
box.
so what can I say? You can't think out of the box, right? If you don't know that you're in the box. Jack in the box. Very good. Okay, so we have our, can I start, Rob? Good. So we have some announcements, of course. Yoga on Friday with Malia, 9 o'clock to 10:15. Mark your calendars. Flying Solo presentation is on October 18th. That's a Friday night. There'll be a reception afterwards, as always. We have some very, very delightful. Is delightful probably not the word? Daring, jumping, enlightening. That's a good one. Anyway, that's on October 18th. Think of that. And then 5 Steps to Freedom, explore the healing power of spiritual mind treatment. That's on Saturday, October 19th at 10, and there'll be a little continental something for you.
And I highly recommend that everybody in here comes to that, especially if you're not familiar with spiritual mind treatment.
Yeah.
It will be very educational and very also helpful in healing because we are going to do sessions and stuff.
October, busy. October 22nd, 6:30 to 8, we have our labyrinth back on there. And then we don't need to, do we need to go any further? Oh, but we do need to know the Kamalani Playground cleanup is coming on October 26th, and we participate in that as a wonderful community, and we've been doing it for years, and they're wonderful, wonderful, and wonderful. And October, this is the kids. I don't know if it's just painting, but the kids. But I have it for you ladies, which would be all of you. On this
Are evolved men.
And for the ladies in the room, here it goes. Rita is on Tuesday, October 29th. Reverend Diane and Reverend Rita do the women's thing, but guess what is happening that night? Improv, led by Rev Rita, spiritual improv. And it says, come get ready to have fun, laughs, and freedom that comes from just letting go. No acting experience required. Yes. It was. I walked in one time afterwards. It was just everybody was just having such a good time. So, anyway, that's a little bit of what's going on right here.
Friday night, honey.
Pardon me?
Friday night.
Of all. So good. Friday night, you guys. You and your daughter is coming, yeah? She was. She said, that's Mr. Brown, my teacher. Anyway, so Jeremy Brown and Amy, Jeremy and Amy, and their Soul Good group is all going to be here. All of them. So it shall be very, very fantastic.
Please pass the word because right now we have very few tickets sold and we don't want there to be more band members than there are audience members. So pass the word. I just pass the word. They're really amazing.
So anyway, there you go. So y'all ready to start? Because we have a new meditation. So before we do, let's just take a moment to settle in, center in. Yeah, let's just take a couple of nice deep breaths. And just settle in for this wonderful evening that has already begun in this wonderful, delicious moment that I call now. And what I know is that each and every one of us and those who are coming in after this are right on time. Are right on time. Everything is on time in the timelessness and spacelessness of the universe. And it's all flowing through each and every one of us. So let's have at it. Let's make our way through this evening moment to moment to moment to moment, knowing that every moment is a new experience. So with that, I say this evening is already a success. It's already a done deal. So let's just sit back, unfasten our seatbelts, and have an absolutely wonderful evening.
Like I said, the meditation is different, so don't be expecting the same one.
Take a moment and find your center. Inhale. Become aware of your breath. And exhale. And relax. It's time to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past. And to move into a new state of being. And now, can you become aware of the space between your ears in space? And now, can you sense the space beyond your ears? In space. And can you move your attention to the space in the center of your throat? In space. And can you become aware of the energy of space around your throat, beyond your neck, in space. And now, can you rest your awareness in the space behind your breastbone in space. And can you feel the volume of space beyond your shoulders in space? And now, can you sense the space between your shoulders and the room you're in? In space. And can you become aware that you're aware in space? And now, what was that vision of the future that awaits you? Be defined by that intention and select that potential that already exists in the field. And allow that internal representation be where you're headed. Invest your energy into the future. And let the thought become the experience. And let the experience create the emotion. teach your body emotionally how that future feels now. And move into a new state of being. Come on, open your heart and let your body respond to a new mind. And it's time to step in to that future now. What choices will you make today? What things will you do? What experiences await you? And how will they feel? Priming your brain and body into the future. Stay in the feeling. It's time to remind yourself of who you no longer want to be. What thoughts will you become conscious of that will never slip by your awareness today? What choices will you not make? What behaviors will you no longer demonstrate? What experiences will you stay away from? And what emotions and feelings will you no longer embrace? It will cause you to return back to feeling like the familiar self. Become the observer from a greater level of mind. And now, finally, it's time, one more time, to invest your energy into the future, combining a clear intention with an elevated emotion. Come on, open your heart and change your energy. And when you change your energy, you change your life. For whatever you broadcast into the field is your experiment with destiny. Being defined by a vision of the future instead of the memory of the past means that you're ahead of your time. And take your hand and place it over your heart. And in a moment, take a breath and have compassion and care and kindness towards your beautiful self. giving thanks for a new life. And the longer you linger in gratitude, the more you draw your new life to you. And if in fact you emulated the divine today and made contact with it, that you ask for a sign from this consciousness, this loving intelligence, and that it bring it to you in a way that you least expect, that surprises you, and that it leaves no doubt that it came from this mind. And that you are inspired to do it again and again when it finds you in unexpected ways. And now bring your awareness back to a new body. To a new environment. And to a whole new time. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Staying in this place within, I give gratitude for this time that we have taken to state our intentions and to be in this practice. And I know that and claim that power and presence that is within us and binds us all together in that one mind is made manifest in everything that we do. And we bring that same beautiful energy here tonight as we share, as we discuss, as we grow, as we expand. And I know that the time we've spent in this meditation enhances that and enhances our lives. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to just be able to sit here and do this and experience this, and for all the knowing and knowledge and wisdom and just everything that comes from it. I am grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm grateful to be here tonight with these great minds and to be connected in this one love and this one life. So I just simply, with gratitude, release my word. I let it go and I let it be so as we affirm. And so it is. Slowly open your eyes. Where's Patrick? There he is. I heard a few new people come in. Oh. You look handsome tonight.
Thank you. It's work at
Look
time.
who popped in with the manifestation while we
Oh, look at him. Another one.
Another new person.
Himself, too.
Thank you, Rob. Did it come through all right? Yeah? Good.
Yes.
I was wondering if anybody else wanted to share their like a few seconds of their vision, because I'd like to share mine.
We'll do that. We'll incorporate it. Yeah. Oh, is that, you want to start? Well, because it's threw me off my paradigm. We're usually don't start with, let's do the class differently tonight.
I don't know.
Out of the box.
Out of the box. There you go.
Assuming you're talking about during the meditation.
No.
Oh.
Well, no, I
Yes.
meant to just share it right now. Like, it's
vision.
my vision that, I'm working on, or
Okay.
whatever, that, instead of going around and saying a word of how we're feeling or whatever,
oh,
just a
okay.
few
Then-
seconds of sharing the
Yeah,
vision.
go ahead, and then we'll
Okay.
go to the meditation.
Because to
You
me,
seem very excited about it, so you should
Yeah.
share it.
well, I am, because I'm celebrating it, and it's something really near and dear to my heart. It's my home. And so I am envisioning my cozy home, I call it. It's a fifth wheel RV, parked underneath a mango tree, this big, amazing 100-year-old mango tree on our property. And I really appreciate all of you envisioning us being there. Thank you.
Did you take that into this meditation?
Oh, I do. I've been doing it
Okay,
for
cool.
quite some time.
All right, good. Yay.
Okay. Well,
Yes, we
well,
will.
this meditation actually was about taking your vision and put, so.
Who has done this meditation before? Yeah. It's called the morning meditation. Well, this is the one you have to pay for. It's on, I think. It's on. Yeah, I don't know the one. I don't know what the other one is. This is the one that he has. That's on his website. Anyway, but so just feedback on it. Feedback for anybody? Wait, microphone.
I love the phrase that it said, working within the vision of your future rather than the memories of the past.
Yes.
And that one it was just perfectly perfect.
Which is interesting because this whole chapter tonight is
That's
all
why
about.
we chose it.
Yeah, I know. I know you did. That's,
No, not me,
But
us.
yeah, but I'm just saying how amazing that that it is such in correlation with that. Yes.
Like I'm just laughing. It's been a great day.
It's only 6:35. My goodness. What a long evening this might be. Carry on.
Well, I want to I want to leap off a DJ. You know, when I first did the thing and I moved around the four corners, I realized I really didn't have anything I wanted to manifest in the four corners. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to go right to the center. Do I think there's some future moment where I can really make the decision to totally align with God? So that's my intention for the class. You know, my intention for the class is to align every thought with the thoughts of God and to notice when I'm not, you know. And what I want to acknowledge is, Jesus, where two or more are gathered. You guys are rock stars, man. I fly when I'm by myself, but in this room with what all of you are doing, I'm like, ooh, let's do this every day, because it was just flying. The energy was awesome.
Thank you. I would agree that when
Chia.
two or more gathered. Chia. Oh,
But you kind of did. When DJ was up, you were like, oh yeah, it's a great idea.
Well, what I have to say today is I got the next layer of my final project showed itself to me. But I'm not going to tell you because then it won't be a surprise.
It
Because
won't be a final
Oh,
project.
Right, because it's going in layers. What's happening for me is each week, it's working the way it's supposed to work, I think. I'm getting another layer of my project. And I'm just building it. And so I got shown an exciting part it's thrilling to me.
coming attractions
Chia's
from Chia.
teasers.
Anybody else thoughts on this meditation? Yeah.
to me, it was beautiful. Just a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I have to mention, since I'm in a class on Thursday nights, flying solo, that one,
October
the two,
18th.
the two classes bumping up next to each other, it's pretty powerful. So I had a vision of some things I'm working through in flying solo, and it just meshed together very beautifully.
Yeah, I used this meditation a lot when I was preparing my concert because I wanted to envision myself being out there and successful and singing well and blah, 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 and it was very helpful. Very helpful. And working through my stuff also. Somebody else had a hand up. Was you? No? Oh.
The morning meditation that I listen to is the free one on YouTube. And that's the one you've been playing. Yeah. Yeah.
This one has a morning meditation and an evening meditation before you fall asleep. You can buy it. I think it's $13 for the set, and plus his explanation. It's on his website, right? Yes. Yeah, Amazon has it too? Okay. It used to be free on Amazon Prime, but they took it off. Anyone else? No? All right. So, okay, so, so anything that came up this week that you want clarifying on or anything?
This week I focused more on feeling the emotion of it all, feeling the emotion of the gratitude and the excitement, and also the confidence that I'll need in the future for my dreams to manifest. So as I do the meditations, or as I do the exercises of living in the future, I really try to make sure I go into quantum and feel the energy behind it. And it's kind of crazy how our bodies are addicted. You know, like when I wake up in the morning, it depends on what I'm doing in the evening, but I can have a whole checklist of things that I need to do. And that first thing in the morning, that checklist just pops into my head, and the anxiety comes, and the dopamine, the adrenaline and the cortisol gets to pumping, and all of a sudden I'm stressed out all over again. Mm-hmm. And what the book has done, it has made me just realize, be mindful that I am living in the past, and that I can just stop, and it's a lot more fun to live into the desired future. So that's pretty cool. So thank you guys.
It's really powerful. Now when I get out of bed, I think about it all the time. Like I get out, I want to do something different, but my cats are meowing, so I have to go feed them. So I'm going, you do the same motion. You go down and get the bowls. You go up to the, so I tried switching it around, right? But, or at least thinking different thoughts while I'm doing it. Yeah. Tara.
Yeah, I noticed this week a really subtle way I had gotten addicted to unhappiness from what the last 6 years had been. And though I had healed my body, there was a certain lack of ease in what I thought was normal, if that makes any sense. And so I'd done a lot of work with what the divine had shown me about allowing be with a particle, wrap in unconditional love, let it be a wave, and let that wave move without any thought. But I took a leaf from Chia's book from last week, and it's a new shortcut, and it worked really, really well. So I want to underscore what she shared last week, which was, because I've done so much of that other work, just simply and like a divine child calling in my God presence and saying, please dissolve this with love. And it's amazing how much faster that is than what I had been doing. So I wanted to thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ronald.
So I had this awesome aha last night when I was reading chapter 3. And it was talking about, how the mind and body conspire to keep me in the past and keep me in my patterns. And what I realized this morning on my way to work is for a while when I would read at night, so it would put me to sleep. And so I developed a pattern of when I would read, I would get sleepy, except if I'm reading in a group. Then I'm awake. But if I'm reading like totally by myself, I'm the only one in the house reading, I immediately start nodding out. Immediately. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And then I remember because I developed that when I first got sober, I was having a hard time sleeping, so they would tell me to read this certain book, it would put you to sleep. And I would read that book, and it would put me to sleep. And so after a while, I actually kind of stopped reading for a while because it would put me to sleep. You know, and I would only read like, you know, something not too heavy or not too engaging, just, you know, just kind of something frivolous. And so now that I'm reading again something that's engaging, I'm having that experience where I'll start to get sleepy when I read. So I have to get out of the house. I have to go somewhere else to read the book. So, because if I'm in my comfortable setting, I immediately want to go to sleep.
It's good. It's good. That's why we shouldn't meditate in bed, apparently. Really, no. He says that. I mean, because if your bed means sleep to you, then don't, for sure, don't meditate there. Unless you want to use it to go to sleep with, I guess. Anyway, anything else? Chia.
I just remembered something really beautiful that happened this week after Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers dovetailed into this class. And I think it was somewhere I read to watch myself, to become the observer. And so I sat down and I was coloring because my children inside got all excited by Mr. Rogers because they were told that I was perfect just the way I was, that I am. And so they got so excited that they wanted to color. And so I stroked each stroke, and they all felt so loved and I was behind watching my child in me. And each stroke said, I love you, to each child. There were more than just one, Patrick. There were lots of them. And I did the whole picture with, I love you, I love you, I love you. And when they told me that whenever I didn't say I love you, that was my key to come back in to myself.
Beautiful.
Love the way we all find our ways to our inner selves. Inner self. Yourselves. Inner self. I love it, because we all have our own way of getting there and our own way of being there, and that's the whole beautiful thing about this teaching, is that we're each unique. And one experience is not the same as someone else's, and one way of getting there is not the same as someone else's way. So I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
So let's move on to this wholeness exercise that you guys did. We just want to check in. We don't want you to tell us the whole thing. We just want to know, you know, ahas that you might have had doing it.
Did you enjoy doing it?
No? Whoa, I don't like this.
No, I did not enjoy doing it. Well, I'm very honest with myself. Yeah. So on the emotional part, I saw that I wasn't, that when it comes to my emotions, I didn't live by certain principles, you know what I mean? Or I didn't establish principles I was never really taught to. That my creative mediums could be stronger. It was less of it's more of an exercise of where I ranked myself on things that I could do better. So it was a good gauge.
Creative medium, do you know what it means?
Creative medium, like
Creative medium is the middle, the subjective, the subconscious, the place where it's not your creativity, it's just the subconscious mind. It's another word for the subconscious mind, just so you know.
well, thanks for telling me.
Okay, well,
Nah.
yeah, okay. It's your use of the law, basically. All right.
Well,
That's the area and it's the area that Joe says is running our life, and Ernest Holmes said it's subconscious is running our life.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to clarify it, that's all.
I just know I could be a bit stronger in everything, all the different subjects. But it also, I appreciate it because it gave me a map. And I know where I am, and I know where I want to go.
Right, that's all that matters.
I find something interesting about that. We worked with someone today that's taking, that's taking this class online, and we were going over this because we happened to be talking to her. But I find it interesting, and Charles really hit it. This exercise did not ask you to find out everything that was wrong with you and that you're not doing right. I know, but I'm just saying that seemed to be something that I'm sure that, I don't know, but I'm bound to find out. But it's interesting that this exercise was an assessment, and we usually go to what we are not doing. And I was saying to this person on the phone, I'll say it to you as well, I said I was going to say it tonight, that there should be another exercise to go along with this on the other side to talk about how you are succeeding in the emotional, how you are succeeding in each of the areas. It was just an observation, and Charles reminded me of it because I just
Right.
thought how...
And it's interesting that's where you're saying where we naturally will go, to
It
where
does.
we need
naturally
improvement.
go to what we have to fix or
Right.
what we have to do. Well,
Instead
you
of
didn't,
saying,
but
I'm doing this
I'm
really well.
You guys, generalizing.
Right, right.
Generalizing. Nobody in this room.
Yeah.
There you go.
I know I do that. I go to what I feel like I need to fix, like I'm
So
constantly.
would you like to share?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Diane. So that didn't go over as well as I thought it would in my mind, but you know what? It's 6:50. There is no time. Thank you, Lori.
This evening is unfolding perfectly. It just is. I didn't use it as I started out each section with what I'm doing really well. My intention for this class is to thrive in all areas, so this was a really good experience for me to do this exercise and notice the ways that, like Charles said, where I'm not thriving. And that's what I've been noticing all along since I set that intention for the class was the ways are being shown to me, like we talked about in the meditation, show me when I'm not living by my vision. Almost every week, something different has been coming up to show me where I am not currently thriving, to give me an opportunity to clean that up so that I can thrive in every area. And so I didn't take it as and a couple of them where I thought it was one of the things, for example, under mental was I've noticed recently that I've been having some, what I thought of were as focus problems. And then this morning I realized that Hawaii just went over the equinox. We're a little delayed from the northern hemisphere, and we're now at 11 minutes and 54 seconds of daylight every year. So we just in the last day or so went over the line. And autumn is a time of turning within and letting go. And I realized that's what's been happening. It isn't a lack of mental focus. It's my body responding to the change, the seasons, the turning of the wheel, and telling me it's time to slow down and turn within. So, and spend more time looking out the window and thinking and that kind of stuff. So it was a good exercise.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, this feels really raw, but it's really true. what I lived through before I got to Kauai, I really felt like I had healed. Except what I realized this week is that while I had healed my body of the things that had manifest, the heart attacks and things that had manifest with what I lived through, that I hadn't yet re-engaged life, and that I was consciously resisting deciding to thrive, you know? I was really aware, and it's like in my physical body, it's like, well, I'm healthy, but there's a whole nother level, and I look at what would be calling me, and I don't want to do it right now. I just don't want to do it right now. And so my deepest truth was to say, well, you know what? For right now, I'm just going to focus on the center, and the gift to my body I'm going to give is the gift of loving my body, loving what comes up, and I'm going to trust that there's a point in the process where instead of me raping myself thinking I should be somewhere other than where I am right now, I just want to be. What is so deeply true for me is nothing's calling for me to do. I just want to be, right? And I trust at some point that will shift of its own, you know, like you were saying in the cycle, and then there'll be an authentic move. So I made a real decision not to push myself. I saw that I'm not deciding. I'm clearly not deciding to create anything in the four corners. But I'm resting in the center and being, and then seeing what unfolds from there, which may be a cop-out, but that's where I am.
No, it's not a cop-out. I think that's what we do sometimes in life. It's not a cop-out. It's like, that's what we do sometimes. We have to sit in the unknown. We have to sit in the silence. We have
Actually,
to
that's
sit.
a nice place
I
to
like
actually
it.
sit. Because
Instead of forcing yourself.
I don't sit there very often. I'm in my four corners a lot.
I think I need to sit there.
You know, so that's a beautiful
Thank you for that.
place to be. Emma?
Sometimes confusion sets in terms of whether am I coming from my past in terms of my addictive behavior of something versus what I'm trying to become. And the example of this is that coming out of a 30-year relationship, you have a codependency issue, whether we like it or not, we do. Good or bad, doesn't matter. But, you know, we've talked about this, you and me, Patrick, in terms of sometimes, you know, clicks are just my baggage, right? But when I said confusion, it's also me trying to be independent in my life for today. And so that's why I've taken it to the extreme of being independent, even when I want to be with people. And so, you know, I don't want help from this because I can do this, right? And sometimes it pushes friends away. And that's really not my meaning today, but that's what I'm trying to get. That's been my mindful reminder of myself that I like my life independent and I should not be codependent and be able to do it on my own and have friends, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's confusing, but it's working its way through. And I just so appreciate that this class is really helping me decipher and to be clear as to where it's coming from. Yeah.
And also, when you're making a change, sometimes the pendulum like swings like really far the other way as you're trying to find your balance, you know? At least I found that for myself.
Yeah, alignment, balance, yeah.
Should we go on?
Any other ahas? Oh. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, I had several areas that I know what I'm working on, but I found a nice, happy surprise when I wrote about social interactions with others. And as I was writing, I realized that in an unexpected way that I've become a mentor to several younger women. and how that makes me feel so valuable to them, because I can listen and share, and they come to me and ask my opinion, and I know just the way they ask that they respect me for my input. And it's very touching that I've realized this by just writing it down.
That's beautiful, Roseanne. I bet you're a wonderful mentor.
That's great.
Yeah, I think we're up to this. For some reason, I really like that picture. I don't know why. Isn't it kind of cool? She's just, it's like she's sitting in space, but she looks like she's from another era, like the 50s or something. But her pants are awful short, so I don't know. Anyway, okay, so this is core concept 4. It is the infinite nature of God, all conceivable good is eternally available, ready to flow into human experience. Through some cosmic process, this flow of good is activated and or increased by human belief, faith, and acceptance. The expression of this essential belief, faith, and acceptance is prayer. And then it says, the human reenactment of the cosmic creative process is naturally happening with or without our awareness. Spiritual mind treatment is one effective way to increase our belief in and acceptance of the universal good, the cosmic well-being inherent within us. So that's a lot of mouthful. So we're going to do what we did last week, that you get to turn to somebody next to you. And first of all, define what this means in your own words. And then our question was, what would Dr. Joe say that cosmic process is? Ernest says, through some cosmic process. He doesn't really define what it is. He just says through some cosmic process. What would Dr. Joe say that cosmic process is, and how does spiritual mind treatment increase belief?
So it's
All right,
always good.
I'm
You
just
guys are always even. It's so nice. So it goes like, 1, 2, then, who's ever next to you. So you guys, and then you guys like that. This. There you go. Are you clear? Yeah?
Yeah, we want you to say it in your own words first, what it means.
For you.
Okay, so this is like the universal. This is this is God, the universal, right? And this is how it's working within us. All right, individually, and then the question that we posed. Don't be afraid. You can't make you can't make a mistake. That's for sure.
The infinite nature of God, all conceivable good, is eternally available, ready to flow into human experience. Through some cosmic process, this flow of good is activated and or increased by human belief, faith, and acceptance. The expression of this essential belief, faith, and acceptance is prayer. This is Ernest. The human reenactment of the cosmic creative process is naturally happening with or without our awareness. Spiritual mind treatment is one effective way to increase our belief and acceptance of the universal good, the cosmic well-being inherent within us all.
I would break it down little sentence by sentence. Yeah, you're going to get it because I send you the slides, but break it down because it'll be easier. Where's Ron? Yeah, it is. But when you really break it down, it's the way the sentences are written. But if you break it down, it isn't that heavy. He's talking basically about, he's talking that we don't know, that cosmic process. Bring it all together.
Well, that's why he
But we have
doesn't
to
know.
trust it, we have to accept it, we have to believe it, and that increases it. I'll fix it later because it should come out of the other money, which I didn't put out.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
It's a little heady, but not really, if you just break it down, right?
So who would like to express? It's not heady at all, is it, kids?
Melissa, you want to go first?
Quantum
Interesting. When I was
schwantum.
talking to Lori, I just had this interesting, because we were talking about the subconscious and how you really get in touch with the subconscious and how do you change the subconscious. I mean, it's all that. So I just got this image of kind of like being on the train, like you're on a train, it's the subconscious. You're just going along because that's, your subconscious just goes because it's the autonomic nervous system as well. So you want that to happen because you want to be able to breathe and digest and all that stuff without having to think about it. Not that you could do anything about it if you did think about it, but anyway, so it's like we're going on the train and we don't really know we're on the train because we're unconscious. We're just, everything, it's just happening for us. So in order to get, what this class is about is to realize, oh, I'm on the train. I really don't want to be on the train. So I want to be overlooking on this hill, overlooking this beautiful lake. So you think about it, you go, oh, thank you so much. I'm on the hill looking at the lake. Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. And all of a sudden I'm off the train. And so
Conscious.
So it's like not, it's like I don't have to know how to, like the conductor's going to stop the train and the doors are going to open and I'm going to get out. So it's like, it's magic.
That's great.
So anyway, that's what came up for me.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Who else?
Yes, the other in the group? Jamie, brilliant, magnificent.
Thank you. No, so I was talking to Adara about the infinite nature of God. Reading the chapter of Dr. Joe, like my thought process was that every conceivable everything is connected and created by God. Like everything imagined, everything that we think, every possible possibility is a creation of God. And when we realize this and we realize that everything is part of this whole connection is when we start to enact our power. Like that's when we can make things happen. We can make any changes in our life. We can actively be part of our God self. That's like the recognition of the alignment. And going forward in our conversation, that spiritual mind treatment and actually saying out loud and making that conscious, like this is law, is the activation of that power. Like you're drawing it to you and you're enacting it. And that is what we talked about.
So you're
I was just saying, that's
so you're
great.
the director.
That's what I was just saying, because like Dr. Dispenza gives us a way to enter the quantum field. Like he's giving us these minutes, right? But then spiritual mind treatment, once we're in the quantum field, then we got to use it. We got to like direct it. And to me, that's how it fits together, you know?
I was just laughing because Rita just said that to me, and then all of a sudden everybody, there's like this train of consciousness, train.
I was saying to Roseanne that since I've been working with the Joe Dispenza meditations, I run through steps 1 and 2 and into 3 in treatment in no time, because I don't have to convince myself that I'm connected anymore. And that's kind of what steps 1 and 2 do, is bring me to the place of integration with spirit so that I can speak my word for what I want. But that happens momentarily now, instead of being a conscious process that I have to go through. And so I'm really grateful, after 20 years of Science of Mind, it's like this huge leap into, I'm just there. It's like being prayed up all the time. And the the cosmic process is quantum physics. I just don't know whether they barely had that phrase when Ernest Holmes was writing, I think it was just starting to come to be. But he knew that there was something out there, and we learn in Science of Mind that it works. You don't have to know how it works, you just have to know that it does. And that's what that is, I think.
Well, I had a divine child aha about all of this, and something I'm getting out of Science and Mind and Ernest Holmes that I didn't have in my previous decades of spiritual working with a lot of these principles is that Ernest Holmes continually talking about all conceivable good. And I realized that wasn't in my conception of God. Not that I didn't hold it as something else, but I wasn't focused on that. And so for me, if I'm, because I'm wanting to be the center, I'm claiming I'm going to be 66 on Sunday. If I'm not going to be, thank you, if I'm not going to choose to be happy and joyful and a radiant source of light in every moment now, when the hell am I going to do it? Is there some other decade that it's going to get easier to do?
What did I say? We're not getting any younger.
Yeah, and the thing that hit me, and it's bitten me in the ass some this week, because my execution of it isn't perfect, because I'm a human, but is the simple aha that was, oh my gosh, if God is the all-conceivable good, and the qualities of God are peace to joy, then this is a very simple thing. My body and my child know in every moment, am I in peace to joy right now? And if I ain't in peace to joy, I got some spiritual work to do. And that's how I've been living, every moment I'm noticing, whoa, I ain't in peace to joy right now, which means I'm not aligned with the all conceivable good. I'm out of divine right alignment, right? And then I'm noticing and I'm naming, wow, and that's how I noticed this week, the part of me that's addicted to being subtly unhappy, subtly discontent with what is, okay? And I'm seeing it now and going, oh no, that's an addiction. Let's dissolve that. I'm choosing to be happy, not for any reason, but just because we can.
It's good. Very helpful. Emma's next.
Why not?
I had a discussion with Sean, my 26-year-old, and I sent him something from Joe Dispenza where it talks about the quantum physics, because that's how his mind works. He's a left brainer. I can't, for the God of me, when I talk about spiritual mind treatment or how the CSL principles work, it's based on faith, a lot of it, right? We have faith that it's going to, there's partly faith that it is happening. You just know. That's faith, to me.
But don't forget, it is scientific. It is called science of mind and
Exactly.
spirit, all right?
But-
So,
And-
yes,
and
it's faith.
That's how quantum physics also work. That's how it comes into it. But he doesn't see that, and he only sees the quantum, the quantum physics of it, the specific process, the scientific process. And yet we're saying the same thing. It was like we were just talking different language, but we were saying the same thing. We came to the conclusion that we were talking about the same thing, just different ways of talking about it. But you're right, it shouldn't be separate. They're really just one. But he couldn't see that.
No, mostly because people look at it as like it's religion,
Right.
right? And then they shut off
Yeah,
because they just shut off. And so whatever it takes to get there, whatever it takes to get somebody to know that they can have a better life and they can have,
just to have the
into the-
understanding,
right,
I think.
right. Yeah. It doesn't matter how they get there.
That reminded me about a conversation I had on the way here about the class, because being new to CSL, the Ernest Holmes teachings are a little bit more philosophical and they're harder to grasp if you're when you're brand new, like I'm not as well versed in the language. But Dr. Joe Dispenza is saying like the exact same thing, but in a like particles, molecules, neutrons. For some reason, I can get that easily. And I think I studied physics, chemistry, all of those, and I was really good with those things. Yeah. And I love the philosophical sense, but it's beautifully tied together, because I would read Dr. Joe and I'm like, and then reading Ernest Holmes, I'm like, oh my God, I get it. Like, I get it. It's really but it's nice to have them together, because for someone who's not as well versed in that, I feel like it's clicking.
Right.
It's clicking a lot easier because it has it's almost like, oh, this is it, and you have scientific backup to prove it.
Right. And what's really amazing when you read the Science of Mind textbook, which I've probably read I don't know how many times in the 20 years I've been in here, but it's so Dr. Joe. I mean, it's just like, it might seem philosophical when you first read it, but it's so, it has the mysticism and the scientific part of it in it. And he even talks about particles and ether and space, and Ernest Holmes does. So, but I get what you're saying, and that's why we did this, because
Right, that's why we put them together, so that
it helps to modernize it a little, and to know that we now have backup for what these mystics have been telling us for centuries and centuries on end about this, the great nomere, or whatever you want to call it, the quantum field, God, source, whatever. So, yeah, it's good. I'm glad.
When we
It's good.
first started doing Joe, Rita first started doing Joe, it's so funny because we'd be listening to these, interviews that he had, and all you could hear me doing the entire time, she would go, now listen to this. Science of mind, science of mind. Science, Rita, that's science of mind. It's science of mind. I don't understand why this is a revelation. I'm like going, and everyone's going, oh my God, did you hear what he said? Yeah, about 20 years ago when I read Science of Mind. And so at first I was all like, they don't know, that Ernest Holmes, that man over there that Rob painted over there, that man
Now
over there.
we need another picture of
But it
Joe
was just
Dispenza.
amazing to me because and then there was one we even went to Reverend Diane because we were talking, he quoted this
It's
thing
on page
about
111,
sin,
but I don't have my
about,
textbook with me.
about, it's not the sin, I forgot the quote, but we ran, and I said, oh my God, it's identical. It's identical, it's identical. So anyway, what, Patrick? Oh my gosh.
And just talking, just because you like science and all of that, something that came in the book that said, which I couldn't believe, but I'm glad that I read it because now I believe it more. We now know that less than 5% of all diseases today stem from single gene disorders, right? Whereas around 95% of all illnesses are related to lifestyle choices, chronic stress, toxic factors in the environment. I mean, I sort of knew that, but I didn't know that it was that kind of a percentage. Is that a fact or is that an opinion?
Say it. I don't think it would be in there if it wasn't a fact. Yeah, yeah, if it was in his book. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, right. So let's get back to the question. What? Go ahead, Diane, go ahead.
I think it was.
About me getting excited about Science of Mind.
Yes, that Joe Dispenza is bringing Science of Mind to the masses without using any God talk. And I think that's what's appealing to people who don't want anything to do with religion, but they call themselves spiritual but not religious. And I think it's amazing. It may or may not be people walking people into our doors, but they're getting it. And I think that's the important thing.
Well, and still, no matter which way you look at it, guys, we have to use it.
Yeah, that's
we
the
can talk
key.
about this and read these books and read whatever we want, but if we don't take it into our lives and use it, even Joe Dispenza is not like going to be worth anything to us, right?
Well, I would agree with that because somebody said the other day, wow, Patrick, that's really powerful. And that's really, and I said, this was my conversation when I said, it's amazing what a tough sell this is as far as something so brilliant and so scientific and so wonderful that this power that we get to use for the highest good. And I go, but this is a tough sell. And he said, it's a little bit because you have a Rev attached. And I really thought of that for a moment. I mean, I'm not going to go change that, but I thought, oh, I get it. Because everyone's programmed with all of their past. So they're taking, their altar boys into the now experience. But I really had to really think of that because we're really shifting and changing lives by this philosophy that Science of Mind said that there's a power in the universe and that we get to use it because we are it. And I thought, why can't I sell that? Like, why isn't everybody breaking down the door because they go, did you hear what's going on? There's a power in the universe and we get to use it and we are it. And they're going, but let's just read Joe Dispenza, Greg Braden, and let's get all those read before we can actually embody it. And it's interesting, and I'm right back with you. It's like there'll come a time when we have to turn the page and close the book and then walk in from it.
Right.
And so that's where I think we're all at our own place, wherever we are. But it is funny that the religion, Diane, you're absolutely right.
People are looking at the packaging rather than the substance. And, so Ernest Holmes, he's an old guy. Joe Dispenza's current, so it's the same thing. But you just got to get past the packaging and see what the real core message is.
Ernest Holmes, his whole thing was that we're open at the top. That's what he said. In fact, he said, if you're still reading that book 100 years from now and you haven't expanded from that book, something's not right. So the book is great, and we read it, and I've read it, and I think we should all read it. It's amazing. But we also have to, the way we expand is by taking it and using it and being open to more knowledge and more wisdom and more knowing, and however it comes to us. So, yeah, but that's our philosophy. It's called open at the top, right? Right? Yes.
And
So, right.
I know
it's
that
not closed.
when we talk about, the inner child work that I do, it's very, very funny about marketing, because I'll say inner child and everybody kind of gets it. Or I was in a conversation with someone today, it was wonderful, and we were talking about it, and they said, I did, but we've done all that work in the inner child world. I said, well, then why is our inner child still talking to us on a moment-to-moment basis? Why are we still being dominated by our inner child? Why are we still not going into that? It's because we're rushing through things. We're going, oh, I did that in the 90s. Actually, you did not. You did not complete it, or the inner child wouldn't still be inside of you, which I call the inner you, but here's the other thing. People get that even more. If I do a session or something, I'm doing a practitioner session, but where our focus is on inner child. But people understand they want the inner child more than they're going, that Patrick's actually working with a power in the universe that can move anything, and that's direct the inner child, do whatever it is. So it's interesting, but people are more comfortable actually with the inner child than the actual, what we actually do too as practitioners, right?
Okay, go ahead, and then we're going to I just want to answer this one question before we break. Okay.
Okay, I just want to say something that I've found in me, and in my work with others, I've found it in a lot of others. I don't want to generalize, but I think my hypothesis is part of the human condition. And that is that we can do inner child work, or a lot of work, not from the way you teach it, where you bring in science and mind, and still hold on to our victim persona. We can do inner child work, and we can still hold on to being in reaction to life rather than being source, And so what I find about this is, and I'm really confronting places where I really acknowledge this week, there are parts of me, I don't fucking want to be responsible for that. And I was aware of some parts of me coming up going, man, I'm really getting tired of being so aware, and can't I be unconscious for a bit? Do you know? And then being with that. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's a shift. What you guys are bringing is a shift to personal responsibility, personal accountability, that I'm the source. If I'm in pain, it's not my mother, brother, grandmother, my boyfriend that just broke up with me. It's me. And what did I do with that? And what am I thinking? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
And that's the shift that people are slow to sign up for.
Right,
because
exactly.
There's a lot more company when we get together in our groups and we
we're gonna
mutually complain about what everyone else
is
did
doing.
to us, right?
I know. Have you ever walked the Kaua'i path and just caught conversations? It's just like...
I think it was our wonderful Michelle LeMay used to say, and still does, it's like, this is kind of a hard sell, man, because the one thing we avoid with everything is responsibility. And so I was in a conversation, and this is why it's not like, I'm thinking, why aren't they banging down the doors to get the God stuff? And it's because all of a sudden that's a lot of responsibility. And all of a sudden you go, because the moment we go, wow, I remember oh my God. Literally, oh my God, I am God. Oh my God. Then all of a sudden you go, yeah, but what about my stories, and what about my stuff? How do I still get to live that and be God at the same time? You don't. Yeah. So it's exciting for me. I'm like going, to Rita, I'm always going, why, everybody, we should all be jumping up and down going, do you know what? Suffering's over, struggling's over, what are we going to? And then you go, yeah, but I'm going to read just one more book. And then after that, then I'm going to I've got this one down. Yeah. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
So one last question. So how does spiritual mind treatment increase belief?
Ah.
That's easy.
Oh. He looks over at her.
Yeah. No, so we had a really great conversation. So for me, how spiritual mind treatment increases belief is through the pattern of repetition. It's like I have to keep repeating and develop that feeling in me that says this works, this works. And because I've seen visual proof of it, that reinforces the belief that it works. Problem is that our thing comes up, oh yeah, if I gotta keep being responsible, I gotta keep being responsible. But then the quality of my life starts to, degrade just a bit and like, oh yeah, I better do some treatment. Why can't I just keep doing the treatment? It's kind of like when you don't feel well and you take some medicine and you begin to feel well, you stop taking the medicine. Don't stop taking the medicine. And for me, that's how it increases belief. I got to keep doing it. Got to keep doing it.
Yeah, and doing it when things are going well, right? Every day, opening our day, recognizing that, spirit is all there is, and we're that, and wow, the day is unfolding perfectly, and yeah, when things are going well.
And
Thank you, Ron.
Right before Diane jumps in, somebody was saying it was a great week for talking with people just all over the map. And they were going, that's a lot of time. I've been really thinking about what you're talking about. This takes a hell of a lot of time. I'm a pretty busy kind of guy here, and I'm just wondering, where I'm going to get all this time for all this self stuff. And I went, oh, and I said, but I'm going to tell you something. If you really believed that there's a power in the universe and that you can use it, and all you have to do is practice it, you'd be using your time. You couldn't get enough time in a day, but it's because you have to believe that the time in which you're putting out it's so important to you, but you have to believe that. So, because we all know when we believe in something, we got all the time in the world. You would make the time, but if we're not making the time, there is a part of us that's going, well, it might work, it could work, it's a nice theory, but we'll pick that up same time next week. Why don't we do that? Yeah.
I'm just sitting over here giggling because I remember when I couldn't figure out how to sit for 3 minutes. I had to set an egg timer so I could sit for 3 minutes to try meditation. And now it is the most valuable part of my day. An hour and a half or 2 hours is easy. It's kind of like tithing. The more you give to spiritual practice, the further the rest of your day goes. And I get so much more done when I commit to doing that thing first thing in the morning. It's amazing. I was thinking about this belief thing, and like the very end of the meditation we did tonight, he talks about asking the divine to give you a sign that you actually connected. And when you see a result from spiritual mind treatment, that increases your belief. Yeah. When you get a sign that, oh, it's working, that increases your belief and makes you want to do it again and again and again because it works. This shirt works.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Sure, it works.
Good stuff.
Oh, that's good. All right, I was going to say something else, but now I can't remember. They already have one.
They already have one.
We'll go see.
sh.t works.
I think my microphone just went off, which is a good thing because we're going to take a break.
There we go. Perfect timing. Spirit knows exactly what to do. Okay.
You didn't spell that. You didn't spell shirt right. Imagine that. I'm not a grammar teacher. I'm not a teacher, period. Oh, yeah. I take that back. I am a teacher. When do we get to see your wife? Let me see.
I don't know. I think that people
This was a demonstration.
I didn't sign up. I think people will probably start.
She's now in New Mexico.
Oh, beautiful.
No, I'm just saying.
It is.